Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a City versus Liverpool review. A 2-2 draw in the Etihad for the second time this season. We ended a 2-2 draw with Liverpool. Let's get into our thoughts. Okay, Joe, we remain top of the league. We said in our preview that a draw wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Now, obviously, as an ambitious team and a team that wants to win every single game, we wanted to win this game. The best result, obviously, would have been a win, but we also have to take positives from the fact that we stay top of the league, we're still 1 point clear, and this fixture, this, I suppose, last and big scary fixture of the season is out of the way. Yes, we have to go to Molineux, we have to go to West Ham. These aren't going to be easy games, but we have the Liverpool games out of the way. This was their chance to eclipse us and go top of the table, and it ends in a draw. I think a draw is possibly a little bit flattering for Liverpool. Liverpool fans may disagree with me, but there's a lot of chances we missed, and we created a lot that we just weren't clinical enough on, and we'll get into all that. But what are your initial thoughts following the game? It's only ended about 10 minutes ago.
It's disappointing given the bigger picture, considering you win, you go 4 points clear. It's firmly in your hands. You've got one hand on the trophy, and of course you don't want to slip up, but you can almost afford to. In say Molineux, you get a draw or something, even though we didn't want to. And of course you just want to win as many games as possible because that's the aim at the start of the season. But a draw puts it still in our hands. If we would have lost, then you would have handed it over to Liverpool. It was Liverpool's to lose at that point, which we didn't do. It just feels like a loss because when you go ahead in the first 5 minutes, you have another chance to go. I think the Sterling chance came before the equaliser. They go and equalise. You get pegged back once. It's annoying. You score just before half-time, 2-1. You go in with the lead. It's, again, it's in your hands. You have a third chalked off for a foul, which I don't think was a foul, but we never ever saw a replay, which was annoying. But at the time, you're still ahead. And then you concede in the first minute of the second half. It's just annoying to be pegged back twice. And then you have multiple opportunities to go and win it. You don't take them. So it's frustrating. But again, we haven't handed the league over into Liverpool's hands. It's still ours to lose.
It's just a frustrating one. I just saw a quote come up there from De Bruyne's post-match interview, and he says we deserve to win, and we did. We created so much, and we're just lacking that finish. I thought some of the decision-making from some of the players at times were poor. There was a question mark over Gabriel Jesus because he doesn't start for us, or he hasn't started in the Premier League in a long time, and he gets given today's game. Yes, granted, he took his goal very well, and that was great, but I was disappointed with him in some situations. And I know people may not be happy with this, but there's one instant where he took a shot on goal. He went for the near post on his right foot, and he's to the right of the post. It was the wrong decision. He had players queuing up in the box. He should have pulled it back for. Likewise with Bernardo. He came in the box on the left side, should have pulled it back for Foden or De Bruyne to come onto. Instead, he holds onto it for that bit too long. These these decisions you have to make in split seconds. They weren't always perfect today, and there was too many chances missed. I mean, when we went 1-0 up, yes, we got humbled a little bit a few minutes later when Liverpool got back into it. And it was a fantastic first half of football, but you have to remember Sterling had one or two chances, particularly that one in the first half as well, where he's through one-on-one on goal, and we see this time and time again with Sterling, where he's one-on-one with a keeper, and it's like he freezes or he loses his composure. There was another case with Sterling in that game whereby he was running at one of the Liverpool defenders. He gets into the box, and you're saying, right, if you're going to take them on and go for it. If you're not, turn around and pull it back or do something. Instead, he freezes, does nothing, and gives away possession. I don't think Sterling was poor overall today, but I just don't think it suited him at times when he was playing down the middle. It was a frustrating one, Joe. I think it was a tale of us just not taking our chances because Liverpool, in the grand scheme of things, didn't create a huge amount. They just took the chances they made.
Yeah, they were clinical. We knew they were going to be clinical. They took the opportunities that they got. They created a few more that they could get onto the end of, thankfully. But again, tail of the season, really good opportunities. We don't take all of them. I'm not expecting us to take all of them, but I'm expecting us to take more, considering the quality of chances that we get. Decision making from pretty much everyone at times was pretty poor. Sterling, again, should have decided. I think he got robbed by Van Dijk in that one where he just got into the box and just kind of stood off him and just let him tackle him. Grealish, in the end, it was like the 92nd minute and he tries to dribble through the centre and gets robbed. He gets surrounded by two players. He gets the ball taken from him. De Bruyne's in acres of space on the left to play him down there. Again, Jesus, that one where he gets to the byline almost and then decides to shoot. I don't understand. It's, again, heat at the moment. Someone wants to be a hero, but It's not on. You can't be doing that in a game like this, especially when we have the chance to win it. You can't. And unfortunately, it happened. There's not really much we can do about it. The game's gone. Game's been and gone. There's nothing we could do to change it. But again, it's just disappointing. There's not really much else to say. We're not annoyed because we haven't lost, but it kind of feels like a loss because there were so many opportunities to win it. Mahrez at the end tries to dink Alisson, puts it over the bar. It's so frustrating, but we still haven't lost. So it's like mixed emotions. It's too hard to really feel anything.
It is mixed emotions. It does feel like a loss because we created so many chances. Like I said it during our watch along, that Liverpool defence was there to be got at. It really was. They were making mistakes. They were looking shaky. Their passing was off at times. They're playing a very high line, which we were using to our advantage. We were capitalising on their high line. We were putting balls in over the top. We were playing balls through that they actually couldn't cope with at times. We just didn't have the end product. Now, both the goals were good. Granted, De Bruyne had a bit of luck with his deflection and Jesus took his goal well. But we just weren't clinical enough in front of goal. We didn't have the execution and the clinicalness in the final third, and that's what let us down today. It really should have been, 3 or 4-2 at least to us. It was a frustrating one. But like I said, what you have to take away from it, people, whether it feels like a loss to you or not personally, people watching, you do have to take away the positive, which is we stay top of the league. There's, I think, 6 or 7 games to go, and it's well within our hands. So we're going to get over to our player ratings now and talk about who we thought played well and who we thought could have done a little bit better. Let's get over to it now. Okay, we're going to put up our player ratings on screen for you to see right now. Let us know down below in the comments, would you rate anybody higher? Would you rate anybody lower? Let us know down below what you think. Ederson, we gave a 6 to. I thought he was... he made some good saves. He was a bit shaky. He had that moment where he nearly costed us a goal, where he nearly passes into our own net. And I thought he could have done a little bit better for Liverpool's first goal. He got a hand to it, just not a strong enough hand. And between himself and Stones, I think one of them should have stopped the ball going in. He was fine, Ederson. It wasn't his best game, and it wasn't his worst either. Cancelo, we gave an 8 to because he was very good going forward, and he didn't really have any disasters in defence either. Salah is always going to be a tricky person to mark, and I thought he did a relatively good job on Salah. I know Salah got an assist, didn't he, for or 1 or 2 assists anyway. I remember the Mane one was a great ball. Not a huge amount Cancelo could have done for that. Walker probably should have tracked Mane a lot better. But in terms of Cancelo's overall play, he contributed very well, especially going forward, as he always does. Laporte and Stones, we gave an 8 to both of them. I thought both of them were relatively solid. I thought there was no real disasters with them. Laporte is obviously a threat in the opposition box. I thought he cleaned up where he could in our box. Like I said, Liverpool didn't create as much as I possibly expected them to in our preview. They didn't, but like I said, they just took what they created, didn't they? But overall, the centre halves were fine. Walker, we gave a 7 to. He was fine going forward. He was fine for the majority of the time in defence. He just should have done a lot better for that Mane goal. 50 seconds into the second half. Walker just wasn't awake. He hadn't become alert yet to the game. And I think if it had been 15 minutes further into the game, Walker probably tracked Mane. It's not a case of Walker was too slow. We know how fast Walker is. He just gave Mane that extra yard because he wasn't alert. And if you give a player as good as Sadio Mane an extra yard or an extra inch, he will punish. He'll capitalise. Joe, I think these are as fair as possible ratings we could give to the back four.
Mentally asleep is what I'd call it with Walker. I think he just wasn't switched on. We know he can have lapses at times, but what a time to go and do it. 50 seconds into the first half, you've completely lost your man, and he scored and made it 2-2. It's poor defending, but other than that, he was solid again. He mopped up at the back, used his pace, which we know he does a lot, and attacking as well, down that right-hand side. He was actually good going forward today, which is something that he's not known for his crossing or his final ball, but in terms of his passing and the amount of times he was picked out going down that right-hand side in loads of space, whether he made the right decision when he got the ball, it's up for debate sometimes, but the amount of space he picked up and moving into them positions, it was good from him. And of course, Ederson picked him out a couple of times there. Again, almost kicked it over his own line, which was something that I've never seen before, but I trust him. I trust him to know what he's doing, but it didn't stop me from having almost a heart attack live on stream. It was terrifying. I thought it was over the line. But other than that, there was one time actually with Ederson, I can't remember which minute it was, where it was early on in the second half when we still hadn't got a hold of the ball, and he just hoofs it back to Liverpool, and it really wound me up because he had a chance to pass it. I think Laporte or Stones had given it to him, and he had a chance to just give it back to them and build an attack, and instead he goes and hoofs it and we lose the ball. It just really annoyed me today. And could he have possibly done better with one of the goals? I think yes. I think the first one, it went under him. Possibility he can do a bit better, but again, overall, like, he's not at fault. He's not the reason why we've drawn the game. So defenses, we were pretty good. Again, we didn't allow them to create a lot, and they just took what they did.
They did, and you have to give them credit for that, because we didn't. If we were more clinical, this game would have been a thrashing, genuinely. If we could finish all of our chances or more of our chances than we did, it would have been a thrashing, but it just wasn't to be, because I thought Liverpool's defence actually wasn't amazing. Moving into midfield, we gave Rodri and Bernardo a 7. I thought both of them didn't have the impact on the game that they would have liked. I didn't think they were bad by any means. I just think both of them are capable of impacting the game more. I thought Rodri maybe ghosted a little bit going forward, didn't control the ball as well as he would have liked to, and sprayed it around as the way as good as he usually can. Bear in mind, all of our ratings are based on the standards of the players we know they can hit, the heights that we know they can hit. So that's the same for Bernardo. I thought some of his decision making at times was possibly poor. I spoke about in the first part of the show. He wasn't so much through, but he got in behind the Liverpool defence and he should have pulled it back. Foden was behind him. He should have pulled it back. He starts twisting and turning and couldn't make his mind up and held on to it for too long. There's a few players held on to the ball for a bit too long at times today, and it costed us possession. De Bruyne, we gave the 9 to. He was the leader today. He was the man of the match for us. That's why the star is beside his name. He was our man of the match. Took his goal very well. He deserved more. De Bruyne worked really hard today. His passing was very good. He was breaking through the lines, making great runs himself with the ball and without the ball. He just didn't have enough clinical players around him that could finish off what he was making. Every time De Bruyne got him the ball, he was making positive moves. The midfield today, Joe, I think had Rodri and Bernardo been a little bit better. I'm not saying they're poor, like I said. It might have been a different outcome. And De Bruyne, I thought, was actually genuinely really good.
Rodri had very little to do defensively. Really, again, they didn't really create much. He didn't really do too much defensively. On the ball, he's always going to be okay. Like, that is his strength. That is what he's supposed to be good at. So we expect him to be good on the ball, which is why he doesn't necessarily get too high a mark for keeping possession that well. Because again, we just come to expect it. Like with Bernardo Silva, we expect such high performances, especially given this season, that, you know, that's why his mark isn't as high. He wasn't absolutely awful. He got booked. Should have got Fabinho sent off. I don't know how he stayed on the pitch for that challenge. Could have been injured. It's a different talking point. The ref, just on a side note, he was poor, but he was poor for both teams. So, again, there's not really much you can do about that. But Bernardo Silva, he was doing stuff on both ends, but nothing really came off for him. Wrong decisions from everyone. Him mainly, again, down that left-hand side. Hero ball, that's what I call it. People trying to be the hero, trying to make something happen themselves, trying to be the main guy, the guy that everyone talks about after the game. And again, you can't afford to do that in this sort of game against this sort of opposition. I'd rather win the game, and I think the players should also have that mindset of try and win the game rather than try and be the hero. That is what I want. It's more important to win as a team. But De Bruyne was the main guy. Is he back? He's getting there. He really is getting there. Much better performance from him today. Again, everything was going through him. He was absolutely fuming that Jesus didn't put it back for him for the one that he took a shot, and rightly so as well. Like, he could have had a couple today if it would have just fallen to him, really. But, good passes in behind for Sterling. Man of the match, and long may it continue, him performing at a high level.
Some of the refereeing today was absolutely shocking. Thiago should not have been on the pitch. He should have been sent off in the second half. And Fabinho, he got a yellow card for almost breaking Bernardo's ankle. The studs were up on Bernardo's calf or ankle, whatever you want to call it. For me, it was a red card. I thought some of the officiating was really poor today. And I do want to touch on the VAR thing as well. I haven't seen enough replays of who scored the goal. Sterling scored, and they deemed it to be offside, but I personally thought at the first 2 or 3 glances I saw it that he was onside. I think the offside rule is it's not clear and obvious as to what the rule is, and I think it's possibly a bit harsh on the attacker most of the time. But listen, if you can call me salty for saying these things, but I thought he was onside. But I would like to see it back once again. Moving into the front three, Foden was the best of the front three today. Foden gave Trent, particularly in the first half, an awful time. I thought Trent was struggling to deal with Phil Foden and to deal with João Cancelo, but he didn't have a lot of luck today, and there was times like where Bernardo would be in behind or Jesus being behind. Foden's in great positions. He's just not getting the service. He's not getting the ball to his feet in the at the right moments, or players that are taking too long on the ball to get it to him, and then the momentum's killed. I'd say it was frustrating for players like De Bruyne and Foden, who were the bright sparks today, and not getting the support or the not getting what they deserve around them, basically. Sterling and Jesus, we gave a 7 to both. Sterling, obviously, like I spoke about a second ago, unfortunate with that goal that was deemed to be offside. But he was good today at times, and he wasn't, and he ghosted a little bit of times. That I can't forgive him for that one-on-one chance he missed. We see this all the time with Sterling, through one-on-one on goal with the keeper, and he just loses his composure. Likewise with Jesus, we spoke about that, took his goal well, but other than that, I don't think Jesus contributed a huge amount to our game. I thought everything we did going forward came through De Bruyne, Foden, and probably Cancelo. Jesus, if he wants to start, which he doesn't, he needs to offer a bit more than he did today. Once again, took his goal, great, but he needs to be better, which is why Mahrez, when he came on, looked great. Mahrez should have done better with that last kick of the game. Instead of trying to chip Alisson, should have probably launched it at the goal. But Mahrez looked better. He looked the brighter spark for me, and that's why we gave both them a 7. So it's a frustrating day for Foden, but the other two, particularly Jesus, probably should have done a little bit better.
It's frustrating for Foden, but at the same time, like, I really wanted him to get on the ball and run at Trent Alexander-Arnold. I was screaming for someone to, like, Cancelo did it really well in the first half. He had Trent's number for that entire first half in over the top. Obviously, he got an assist for one of the goals. He dragged one just wide. I didn't see Foden really take Trent on at all in that in the game, just in general. Like, he was good, but I would have wanted him to actually run with the ball. I know I was talking about hero ball and not wanting it, but you know, not seeing it at all from Foden, him picking up the ball and running at players, it was baffling to me. Same with Sterling for in the middle. How many times are we going to have to see it before we say it doesn't work? Like, yeah, okay, it was okay, but he didn't get too many touches. He didn't, he missed one chance. He scored one that it was offside. Is it offside? I don't know. I'm going to trust the VAR on this one because I'm supposed to trust it. I want to be able to trust it, but who knows at this point whether they drew the lines right. And again, Jesus, he gets a 7 because he scored. That is it. Like, his decision making was poor. His pressing was better than it was the last time he played against Southampton, but it still wasn't great. And he didn't take the game. He was rightly taken off. Second half, his performance fell off a cliff. Was that because he hasn't played enough football? I don't know. If it is, then why is he starting? It just begs the question, really. And look, we made the joke about me saying if he scored a winner, I was going to make a video saying things I love about him. But there's so many things that are negative about his game at the moment that it's hard to make a case for him to play any more football this season. Like, let alone, stay at the club. Is he going to play again this season? Is he going to play for the club again? I don't know. His performances aren't really good enough at the moment to suggest that. And, he's the only one that can fix that.
There will be people in the comments and people watching saying, you guys are crazy and you're being harsh. How can you say he's not good enough having scored one of the goals to get us the draw or whatever? And I get that. Trust me, I'm not a complete hypocrite. I understand that. I just feel his overall contribution to the game and his decision-making at times isn't as good as what you want players at City to be. Players like Mahrez who are able to make these split-second decisions. I don't think Jesus can, and I don't think he contributes overall enough to our attack. You can't rely on Jesus. You really can't, which is why the stat is he scored 1 goal in 16 Premier League appearances. That's not good enough for a player who wants to be in a squad that's challenging for all the major honours in world football. It does feel like a loss, but just putting it out there, it does feel like a loss because that game was there for us to win, just like De Bruyne said. We deserved to win, and he deserved to win for his efforts today. But listen, we move on. We come away unscathed. The fixtures out of the way. We remain top of the league. We march on now to the second leg of Atletico Madrid out in Madrid. You best believe that is going to be a very tough watch if it is anything like the game that was last week. We will be doing a live watch along for that. We hope. We're 95% sure we will, so come and join us for that. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments on today's game. No matter who you support, whether you're a neutral fan, City fan, Liverpool fan, we'd love to know what you have to say in this game, because it was a great spectacle. It was a great game for everyone to watch, and I'll happily say that, even though I feel we should have won. So like the video, subscribe if you're new. We appreciate all the support. It's been fantastic. The watch along was fantastic to chat to some of you guys, and we'll see you with content for the Atletico game. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.